Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Cease too much. Reloaded. Good afternoon. Thank you for dropping in. Let's see. How are you doing today? Hope all is well. Hope all is well. Edie Peeler. Good afternoon. Hope all is well. Hope all is well. Indigo Forever. Good afternoon. Oh yeah, you finally caught me. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I appreciate everyone who has stepped in to Wednesday Word. Uh, Von G, good afternoon. Shantastic, welcome. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Thank you all for stopping into Wednesday Word. And I do pray that this Wednesday Word will advance your life and help your life. Okay. Now, as you see in the title, the Wednesday Word is honor your feelings. Honor your feelings. Deanna Irving, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you for dropping in. It's always a pleasure to see all of you, both here and, when I'm, as Tracy said, running the streets. I appreciate everyone that has come in. I'd like to say thank you to all my subscribers and to my new subscribers. I appreciate you. I appreciate all the content creators who are both in the chat and who I admire and have interactions with. I appreciate you all for your sharing, for your comments that keep me motivated. I thank you. I would also like to thank SMD Hair Studios, SMD Hair Studios here in the Virginia area for being a huge supporter of the Johnny Mac 369 and Mac Associates Association. I appreciate them. I also appreciate my my content. What do you call it? My person that looks over my content and helps me out with it to make sure that it stays nice and even keel. Thank you all for being here. Now, let's get into it. Honor your feelings. Okay, so often we feel some kind of way and we fight against what we feel and we don't honor it and we don't ride it out until in order to gain control. Okay, you have the right to your thoughts and your feelings. Everyone has a right to their thoughts and feeling. And you also have a right to act in response to what you think and feel. You have that right. You have that inalienable right, amen, to act in response to your feelings and what you think. I find that the most frustrating thing is when someone tells you you shouldn't feel a certain way when you're feeling it. You shouldn't feel like that but I'm already feeling it. So basically, you're too late. However, your actions are a reflection of who you are and what you think and believe about yourself to be true. Let me repeat that. Your actions are reflection. Your actions are the reflections of who you are and what you believe to be true about yourself. I think I want to say that one more time. Your actions are the reflection of who you are and what you believe to be true about yourself. Now, remember, thought, word, and action equals thought plus word plus action equals results. So what you think about yourself or what you believe to be true, those thoughts, and we know that thoughts always end up in words, and words always end up in actions, which equal to the result. Um, it always equals results. It always comes to a result. Now, we are expected, excuse me, we are expected to adhere to predetermined boundaries. And it is the attempt to stay within those boundaries that cause us inner conflict. Okay, the boundaries that we have been taught and that we expect ourselves, um, we have a tendency to try to adhere to those boundaries because that's what we know. And what happens is when you feel different, or when you feel certain things that seem to contradict or seem to go over the boundaries, it causes conflict because we do not want to go outside of the boundaries. Okay? So it causes inner conflict in our emotional being. Now we're talking about our emotional being. Okay? It causes conflict in our emotional beings. Okay? Understanding this, it is our goal to get beneath the feeling. Okay? We have to get beneath the feeling and root out the cause of our mental, spiritual, and emotion that can be brought back into balance. What are you saying? I'm saying that in realizing that we're having emotional conflict because of the boundaries, we have to go beneath. Uh, we have to go beneath the feeling and root out the cause for our mental, spiritual, and emotion, uh, which and those things can be brought back into balance. They can be brought back into balance provided we go beneath the feeling. All right, beneath the feeling to find the cause. Once we identify the cause, okay, we can deal with it. We can root it out, especially if it is something that, if the cause is illegitimate, because a lot of times things that are buried in us cause us to react a certain way, and those things are basically illegitimate. They can be very illegitimate, nothing legal about them. They're totally illegal, and we just fly off the handle with them. They're not based on any particular principle. Um, so we tend to feel rather than think. So we have to get beneath the feeling, because feelings will lead you wrong. So often we feel things and we go off on tangents just to find out down the road that those feelings and those that tangent was totally unnecessary. Even looking at what's going on YouTube right this very moment, we can see that there are some overreactions to things, unnecessary overreactions. There is blame being thrown without any concrete evidence that these people are doing what they are accused of doing. So it stems from a person not being able to get down. Well, one of the causes is not getting down up under the feeling to find out what it is, what that root is, and uprooting that, which causes us to be irrational. Okay. Now, in order to do this, in order to get beneath the feeling and to root out the cause, this demands focused work. Let me say that again. It demands focused work, and it demands the courage to examine and explore our inner conflict. Okay. But most of all, uh, it takes patience patience with ourselves and with others. Okay. Let me say that again. in order for us to get beneath, to go down beneath the feeling and root out the cause of our mental, spiritual, and emotion can be brought back into balance, so that it can be brought back into balance. This demands focused work and the courage to examine and explore our inner conflict. But most of all, it takes patience with ourselves and with others. Okay? It takes patience with ourselves and with others to go, and let me add this. It also, we also have to have the patience to go back so that we may go forward. What are you saying? There are times when we have to go all the way back. Now, when you're going down, up under the feeling to uproot, you have to face what that root is in order to deal with it. So we have to go back to that particular point, to that particular place. We have to go to that particular place. We have to face all of that stuff. So we have to go back to that point. Okay? We have to go back to that point in order to go forward, because that has to be resolved. If it is not resolved, if it is not rooted out, we will continue the same behavior. We will continue to be more emotional than intellectual. And I said this before, and I'll say it again. You cannot be emotional and intellectual at the same time. It does not work. The two do not meet. If you are being emotional, you are not thinking. But if you are thinking, you're able to control your emotions. Okay, and the church can say amen on that. Lioness, good afternoon. Truth Slayer, welcome, welcome, welcome. Only One Jewelry by Ray Ellen, thank you for being here. Indigo Forever, thank you all for coming in. I appreciate seeing you all. I really appreciate you. Okay, now we have to go back. We have to be able to go back in order to go forward. And let me say this to you. Let me encourage you that you are always in control. You are always in control. You're always in control. Now, because you are feeling a type of way does not mean you have to act in that moment. We're seeing people acting out in the moment. You don't have to act out in that moment. And I'm going to help you with that in just a second. You don't have to act out in that particular moment. Know that you can feel something and that you can recover from it. This emotion is not something that you can't recover from. Okay, so now you're in control. Okay, you're always in control. And because you're feeling a type of way does not mean that you have to act on it in that moment. Okay. You know that you can feel something and you can recover from it. Let me repeat that. Because you're always in control. Okay. Because you're feeling something, it doesn't mean that you have to act on it in the moment. You can recover from it. Okay. And I would advise to stay with it until you can decharge it. Okay. Stay with it until you can decharge that moment. Okay. So in order to decharge it, you have to take a moment. And there is a principle that's called kibis. There's a principle that's called kibis. K-Y-B-Y-S. Kibis. And kibis can be implemented In the first 30 to 60 seconds, and I always find this a little funny when I think about it. Miss Leo, good afternoon. Miss Leo 814, welcome. Uh, Distinctly Dre, welcome again. Good to see you. Um, I always find it a little funny when the acronym is, worded out. So the principal chemist can be implemented for the first 30 to 60 seconds in the experience. So when you're feeling it, whatever caused you to feel that way, take 30 to 60 seconds and use the principal chemist. Now, I know you must be asking, what on earth does kibis mean? KYBYS. And here we go. Because a lot of us are guilty of not using it. And if we use it, I think that we would be more powerful in a lot of situations. Kibis means keep your big yap shut. And I'm sorry, but I always laugh when I think about it because that's personal to me. Keep your big yap shut. Okay. This will allow you to pull yourself together. Okay. And allow your brain to refocus, asking yourself, what is the real issue? Okay. What is the real issue that I'm facing right now? Why, in other words, why am I emotionally charged? Why am I losing control? Okay. So again, keeping your big mouth shut for the first 30 to 60 seconds will help you to recover. It will help you to refocus, asking yourself the question, what is the issue? Rather than feeling and reacting and then regretting the actions and having to apologize for your behavior later, you're able to bring yourself under subjection, under control, and think it through. And that is not to say that that there is not an answer that will be appropriate to the issue or the situation. It's just giving you time to refocus and to get your emotions under control so that you can think. So that you can think. That is very important in every interaction, to be able to think and to separate yourself from the emotions so that you don't do things again that you regret. We often act, when we act in emotion, we almost always, we regret to some extent what we've said or what we've done to someone else. Okay. All right. So keeping your big yap shut for the 30 seconds. This will allow you to pull yourself together and allow your brain to refocus, asking yourself, what is the real issue? And at this point, in these few seconds, you will know exactly how you are to respond and what you need to do. Okay. Now, again, on here, even this from the weekend up until now, we have seen people just go completely crazy. Good afternoon, Maturish. Welcome, Maturish. Appreciate you being here. Um, we have seen this weekend, even up until now, the behaviors of people who are not thinking. They are emotional. Okay, they're going on half truths or no truths at all. Okay, they're making people are making assumptions in an authoritarian type way where they have the perfect analysts. However, some of the things that I've listened to um, sounded more biased to me towards individuals or certain individuals, which, if you're going to be unbiased, then be unbiased, collecting all the information and assessing the information, and not from how you feel about an individual, but looking at what is the evidence that is there, and then unbiasedly and unprejudicially speaking on it if you're going to speak on it. Now, I don't feel whether you come to my house or not, if you threaten me, that is a problem because you fixed your lips. You made a decision. And see, this is where we always, get crazy. People make decisions to do what they do. Do they get a pass? No, you can't get a pass because you decided willfully whether it was emotional decision or not. You are still held accountable. And there are certain ways that adults do not interact or behave and interact, especially on these YouTube streets. But we have left all kinds of that, and we speak about ethics. However, we use ethics as a weapon rather than using ethics to uplift both sides. Because ethically, there are things that both sides may or may not have done that were not ethically sound. So to say one side is ethical and the other side is not ethical is a little off to me. That's just me in my observation. So we need to be unemotionally involved if we're making an observation of it, if you will. Okay. Now, seeing that, this is what I want to say. I want to talk about maybe two words. I think it's two words I have here that I want to, because I'm not expecting to be on long because, again, I'm in the state of Virginia and I'm running back and forth, with my mother type situation. Okay, so Francois Love, thank you for coming in. Good afternoon. Cheryl Moore, welcome and good afternoon. Live Tattoo, thank you for being here. Appreciate seeing you. There are two words that I want to talk about, and in talking about these words, let's keep in mind what they mean. Thank you all for your prayers. My mother is progressing at for her age, at an alarming rate. A lot of the therapists and everybody is surprised that she's progressing so quickly. I appreciate the effectual, fervent prayers of the righteous. Okay. Crazy T5000, welcome. I appreciate that because they work. They do work. One of the words that I want to talk about very briefly is on-site April. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Good afternoon, the wrench. Okay, the first word is anger. Okay, anger. And I think we need to understand a little more about the word anger, because so often, again, we don't quite, we may know what it feels like in a sense, but not really understand the meaning of it. Okay. And the first word is anger. It is a feeling of annoyance, displeasure, or hostility. Synonyms are annoyance, vexation, exasperation, crossness, irritation, indignation, displeasure, and resentment. Okay. And that's the noun of the word. Now, the verb of the word is to fill someone with anger or provoke anger in. Okay. Now, at the precipice of anger is passion. Okay. Let me say that again. At the precipice of anger is passion. Okay. Passion is strong and barely controllable emotion, intense driving or overpowering feeling or emotion, especially any violent or intense emotion that prevents reflection. Let me say that again. Especially, it is an overpowering feeling or emotion, especially any violent or intense emotion that prevents reflection. And what is very important about that last part of that phrase is especially any violence or intense emotion that prevents, and this word is important, reflection. Okay. Anger is an emotion. It is, first of all, it is a healthy emotion. However, it is when we allow ourselves not to be able to reflect, okay, or the passion of the anger. You know, the Bible speaks of being angry and sinning not. And what that means is that means being in control, being able to reflect so that instead of doing what you feel at that moment, taking that 30 to 60 seconds and regrouping, okay, recovering, decharging. Can somebody say decharging? Decharging the uncontrollable emotion, okay? Decharging the emotion so that, or the uncontrollable emotion, to give you a moment to reflect. Is this worth it? Is what I'm about to say, is the threat that I'm about to uh, orate, if you will, or thrash out, is it worth the long-term effect? One thing about anger and passion is that it feels good in the moment. However, being able to reflect, you balance. Is this momentary gratification worth the long-term effect? Okay. All of our choices have those two elements: the momentary gratification and the long-term effect. I'm of the belief that the momentary gratification is never really worth the long-term effect. We can say things that will affect our lives for the rest of our lives. So the long-term effect of that momentary good feeling was not worth it. But being able to reflect, being able to decharge, being able to regroup, being able to refocus will cause me to count up the cost, if you will. Is it worth it? Is it worth it in time? Is it worth it in energy? Is it worth it in mental capacity? Is it worth the long-term effect of what comes with it? And when we take that moment to decharge, to reflect, regroup, we find that it is unnecessary to respond in certain ways. We respond in other ways so that our long-term effect is not only better for us, but it is better for the situation that we're in and the people that we are interacting with. Passion is when you put more energy into something than is required to do it. Most of the time, being angry with passion causes us to put more energy and, again, reflect on what's going on now. Again, passion is at the precipice of anger. Okay? So we put too much energy or more energy into that moment, that feeling than is required to accomplish what we need to accomplish. It is more than just enthusiasm or excitement. Passion is ambition that is materialized into action to put as much heart, mind, body, and soul into something as is possible. So then, when we are doing things with passion in a negative sense, you get the same outcome as you would if you put it in the positive sense. Okay? But most of the time, again, I ask you to reflect on everything that you have experienced with your ears and your eyes this weekend up until now. And you will agree with me that that is what we see. That is what we see. We see passion as the ambition that is materialized into action to put as much heart, mind, body, and soul into something as is possible. Everything is being thrust into this negative energy. Heart, mind, body, and soul. And it has actually captivated this sector of YouTube. It has captivated this sector of YouTube. Why? Because everybody's talking about it. Everybody is addressing it. Everybody has their opinions. So it has captivated everybody. It has captivated us, some of us, in disgust, because it really is, when you look at it, it's disgusting that we as a people continue to exhibit for public consumption. We continue to exhibit for public consumption a slave mentality. And if anybody wants to argue with me, I welcome your argument. I welcome your argument. The slave mentality is so prevalent still in 2019 in Black folks until it is actually horrifying. It is horrifying. It is horrifying. It is horrifying. Everybody on this YouTube can eat. Everybody can make money. Everybody can flourish. Everybody can be successful. Everybody can share. Everybody can promote each other. Everybody can support each other. I don't have to agree with you to support you. I don't have to be your enemy. I may not be your friend, but I don't have to be your enemy. And I really wish and I pray that the people on here will get that. Now, I also observed that the things that people have been rallying against, the one entity that has been rallying against when I first came on here, I'm looking at how that has completely fallen apart, and everybody is going at each other. The people that had YouTube ships or alliances that shared information have fallen out. I mean, it is amazing. It is so amazing. But again, it goes back to the slave mentality. One person can drop a nugget over here, a nugget over there. And what people do is they pay attention to that and they lose sight of the goal. They lose sight of the entire goal that has been established. And then the goal is sitting over there enjoying all the festivities because everybody's just crazy. K Got Body, welcome. And thank you for being here. It is amazing. It is amazing. No, I don't think it's lack of content. I think it is more or less, I don't think it's lack of content. Well, maybe lack of talent. But you can't be angry with someone else without that anger starting in you, with you. The anger starts in you, with you, before it is manifested towards someone else. So if you're not happy with yourself, you're going to see in that person what you may want to be and be angry because you're not doing it. So you're going to be angry with them. And it doesn't matter what they say or what they do. You are going to try your best to start confusion, which makes no sense at all when all you need to do is work on yourself. There's a saying when I was coming up in church that people used to say, they say, I have 6 months to mind my business and 6 months to leave yours alone. Therefore, my entire year is focused, because the 6 months that I'm not minding my business is the 6 months that I'm leaving yours alone. Now, if you want content, content is real easy. Content is very easy. It is so easy. You don't have to search for it. It is available. Content is a simple word. One can take the word the and make content, because there's so many ways to use the. That's content. You don't have to be a genius to come up with content. Content is just like air. It is all around you. However, most of us are not happy within ourselves. So what we do is reach out to try to either be someone else or be where someone else is. And I'm a firm believer, you don't know how a person got to where they are. So when you want to be them, you have to be very careful, because if you want to be that person, then you're going to have to go through everything they went, the suffering and the sacrifice. The suffering and the sacrifice when you want to be that person. I don't want to be anybody but me. I can learn from others. I can glean from others. I can take jewels from others and implement them and put them into what I do, but I don't want to be them. No way. It's too much. See, because in order to be them, I have to unlearn who I am. And the hardest part is unlearning who I am and then having to relearn who they are in order to be them. It's not worth the work. The momentary gratification, again, is not worth the long-term effect. So I'm comfortable in the skin that I am in. I'm comfortable being me. And whatever about myself that I'm not comfortable with, I go under the emotion to uproot it. Under the emotion and uproot it so that I can be whole unapologetically and with no excuses. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. You know, I try to stay away from all the drama. Um, but there comes a time, and most of us do. Let's face it, most of us really don't want to be involved in it. But what happens is when we see people that appear to be doing the same thing over and over again, sowing seeds of discord, planting seeds of discord, throwing monkey wrenches into uh, the wheels that are turning well. Sometimes you just can't, you have to speak on it. You have to speak on it because somewhere, someone, it may open somebody's eyes that's in the midst of it or that's behind it. And it might cause them to think and to change, you know, their mind and change their process or their progress in doing what they're doing. Let me say, I'm glad to be on YouTube, and I really appreciate the tool because it is a tool that our people can use to uplift, not just make money. It's good for that too, but we can uplift each other. And there's so much that we have that we can add to each other and show the world that we are not what other cultures claim we are. But with all the foolallah, if you will, that I see going on, it's like, well, the majority, and then, you know, no matter how small it may be or how contained it may be, it's still louder than the positive things that are going on. Mimi, good afternoon. It's okay. I appreciate you being here. Exactly. There's some of us that are aware and some of us that are not. And I would like to, yes, Food Junkie, you're right. We are all connected. However you look at it, we are all connected. We are all connected. Whether you want to accept it or not, we are connected to Susie. We are connected to Narob. We are connected to Sean Bradley. We are connected to Kwani. We are connected to Phi Babe. We are connected to Tracy. We are connected to Brother Jay. We are connected to Larry Nelson. We are connected to ZT. We are connected to Wiley. However you look at it, there is a connection, whether we want to be or not, whether we accept it or not. We are all connected. And at the same time, we are all responsible. We are responsible. We are responsible in one way or another. We are responsible. We are our brother's keeper. We are our brother's keeper. Now, and I have to say this, a lot of times our brother doesn't want to hear. And most of the time, because it's not the time. It's not the time for them to hear. And I know that's a sad way of putting it, but sometimes it's just not the time. When you decide that, when you decide that you don't want to hear, that gives me the indication that it's not the time. So the thing is that you're going to hear it one way or another, whether you hear it quietly straight from me or our brother or sister, or whether you hear it through your experience. And I'm one that totally believes I don't have to experience everything. I can learn from someone else's experience. But when a person doesn't want to hear, there's nothing you can do but just be there. You know, a lot of the things I've observed on YouTube are disheartening. However, I still have to go on. And I'm not going to take it on as my personal so-called battle. I'm just going to continue to do what I do and hope that what I do blesses one person. And I say one person because if, excuse me, if I can reach just one individual and influence them or plant the seed for them to look at things in a different perspective or change their perspective or broaden their perspective, and it blesses them and they use it for their advantage, then my living has not been in vain. I don't have to touch everybody in the world. But if I touch one person and their life has changed, guess what? I don't have to fight death. I can accept death when it comes, knowing that I have fulfilled my purpose. I have fulfilled my purpose by touching the life or pouring into the life of someone else. And when they become successful, I am successful because I poured into them. I continually be blessed by the people that I pour into, not those that I hold back from. More than intentions, it is integrity. Because if you have integrity, your intentions will be right. It's just like saying, if you have love, if you practice being loving, when you love, everything else falls under love. Okay? You will be charitable if you love. You will be forgiving if you love. You will be patient if you love. Okay? So intention will fall under integrity, because if you have integrity, then your intention will definitely be right. Your intention will be right with the integrity. And this is what my goal is. My goal is to be integrous and to love, so that all of it is encompassed, so that everything I do is a blessing and not a cursing. Listen, everybody can read. It doesn't take much to learn to read. Everybody can, in other words, everybody can insult each other. Everybody can insult each other. I mean, it's the easiest thing to do. Whether you make it up or whether it's based on fact. However, who is going to take? I don't want to be. I don't want to say this and sound hokey or corny, but who's going to take the high road? Who's going to take the road that lasts the longest and yields the most fruit? Okay, I know I have the ability, but am I going to do it? Do I have to do it? Is it really necessary to call you names? I mean, there's a way of checking a person without calling them ugly and bad body bees and you know the F bomb and the C bomb and all this kind of stuff. And again, these things on YouTube, they will last forever, not for a lifetime, but they will last forever. And if you think that even if you delete it, that it will never be found, you are fooling yourself. You are fooling yourself, because there's going to come a time when to pull this stuff, you're not even going to need the internet. You're just going to be able to tap on a button and be able to see it all. That's where we're going at this point. DM Lamb, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad to see you. It is my pleasure. India Freeman, thank you for being here. This gives me great pleasure in sharing. It gives me great pleasure in sharing, because when you share, your cup always breweth over. When you share, you are never really empty, because when you least expect it, someone will come and pour into your cup because you've been pouring into others. And again, I want to challenge you all. Honor your feelings. Honor your feelings. Honor them. But in honoring your feelings, understand the parameters. Understand that there is a negative way of honoring your feelings and not being responsible, or being irresponsible. Okay? But honor your feelings and be responsible. In other words, give yourself that moment. Give yourself that moment, that 30 to 60 seconds to regroup, to decharge the emotion, and to ask yourself, what is the real issue? Because I'm telling you, not from what I heard or from what I've read or from what somebody told me, but I have experienced taking that 30 seconds and keeping my big yap shut and regrouping and refocusing, getting a handle on it. I was able to respond with the appropriate response to the issue and not deflect or blame. See, because a lot of us have those twins oftentimes are visited upon the children. Whatever you do comes back to you in abundance, and that is negative or positive. Why am I buffering? I have no idea why I'm buffering, you all. Oh, Lord, maybe. Well, at any rate, most of the content that I wanted to get out has been I'm back. Wonderful. At this point, most of the content, that I wanted to get out has I have been able to get out. Okay, and that is honor your feelings. You have the right to feel. You have the right to your own thoughts and feelings, and the right to respond to what you think and feel. Okay, you have that right. But remember, thought plus word plus action equals results. How you think, how you word, and your actions will yield to you response. Okay? Please keep that in mind in your interactions, both in your everyday life and on YouTube. So many people feel that being on YouTube, and I hear this all the time, "Oh, YouTube ain't real life." If YouTube is not real life, why are so many people affected by it? If it's not real life, why are so many people um, why are so many people affected to the negative? Why are so many people being negative? Why are so many people reaching into other people's lives to destroy them if it's not real? Trust me, it's just as real as the skin on your body. It is real because it's affecting people in a real way. So, and remember, if it was not real, then everything you do on here, you would get a pass from the universe. And trust me, I remember growing up, my mother used to say, "You may get by, but you never get away." I'm gonna say that again. Oh, y'all can, you know what? Let's hashtag that. Hashtag you may get by, but you won't get away. Let me say it again. Hashtag you may get by, but you won't get away. The universe will find you, has your address. It sees everything you do, every thought, every single thought. The universe hears it. Before you even get it, before you even think it, the universe is already on it. You may get by, but you won't get away. Now, that's what I'd like to leave. I would like to us to leave this chat with that very statement. You might get by, you may get by, but you won't get away. You may, and that thing is just ringing in my spirit. You may get by, but you won't get away. Do what you do. Do what you're going to do. Do exactly what you're going to do. You may get by, and it may seem like a pass, but it's not, because you're not going to get away with it. You're not going to get away. The universe has a way of getting you. You reap what you sow. You cannot plant peas and expect to get corn. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Again, everyone, I appreciate you coming in today. And I was going to say, I pray that I've helped someone, but I'm not going to say that because in my spirit, I feel that this has helped someone. It has given them strength. Oh, Tori and Donald, good afternoon. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You finally caught me live. Yeah, you finally caught live stream. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. Kathy Phillips, welcome, welcome. Wildflower Wisdom, welcome. Live Tattoo, you are so welcome. It is my pleasure to share. It is my pleasure to share one and only, only one, I'm sorry, only one jewelry by Ray Ellen. Yes, Crazy T5000. These are some sayings that I grew up with that so often we store them. It's not that we forget them, we store them. And when the right time in our life that we need them, they come back, or somebody says something to remind us of those old sayings that when you think about them now, you understand exactly what they meant. A lot of times by experience, because you've experienced it. So now it's real. It's not just a saying, it's a principle. It's a principle that wherever you apply it, it will work. It will work. So when you think about it, you may get by, but you won't get away. What's ever done in the dark will come to the light. All those things, you understand that they are principles. So you become transparent. You want to be more transparent. You want to show, not just talk about, oh, I have integrity. No, you want to live a life that exhibits in real time integrity, self-control. Now, again, I'm not saying do not get angry, because it is a healthy it is a healthy emotion. However, when we get caught up in the emotion and the passion of being angry, we tend not to think and we react. And then the end result is we regret. All I'm saying is take that 30 to 60 seconds to regroup, to decharge the emotion, and ask yourself, what is the real issue? What's the real issue? What's the real issue? Because at that point, you'll begin to see the real issue. And like I said, in my experience, it's like, it's not worth me getting all upset. That person is not, the issue with that person is not worth me going through all those changes, cussing them out and carrying on. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I need to be at peace. So I come to the conclusion, and to handle it emotionless or intellectual, and I'm able to check the situation, and be stern in my address, and I'm free. I'm free. I'm not angry at you or angry with you, and I'm not going to come back on you. Now again, let me say this: none of us are perfect, and there are times when we do allow ourselves to be overcome with the emotion, and there's nothing wrong with it as long as we take the reins, catch it before it gets too far, and rethink, decharge the emotion. Now, I've been in here an hour and 6 minutes, and I appreciate everyone that came in today on this Wednesday word. Honor your feelings. Honor your feelings. It is important to do that. Again, I appreciate you all. To all the content creators that was in the chat today, I appreciate you visiting. Now, I've never really done this before, but I'm going to do it today. I'm going to say to you all, please hit that like. If you have not subscribed, subscribe. I appreciate all my subscribers and all my new subscribers. I appreciate your comments because your comments do help. Yes, yes, Mimi, yes. I believe that a person has to have and must have, it is imperative that you have emotional intelligence. I am totally with that. I am totally with that because that's what we, again, that's what we need. And emotional intelligence is uh, knowing how to control, the anger, how to not let the emotion cause us to go in the wrong direction. Or better yet, like I said before, cause us to be more concerned about the momentary gratification and not take into consideration the long-term effect. I appreciate all of you today. And again, DM Lamb, I'm glad to see you. Thank you as well. Thank you all. Now, I always like to pay tribute to homage. Wow, I'm glad. Live tattoo, I appreciate that. Kibis, yes. Yes, there's so many times when I have had to practice keeping my big yap shut and decharging. Decharging. It's something that we all need to practice. And the more you practice it, the better you become at it. Again, Mimi, thank you. Self-control is very important. And, and let me say this, thinking through the process, it is a process. It's not something that you say, okay, I got self-control. And it is through each of your experiences, you begin to think before, or at least in the midst of, you catch yourself in the middle of your, either before or in the middle of being emotional, and you bring it down. You bring it down. And that is so very, very important for us to do. So again, I thank you all, and to again, to all of the content creators that were here and those that I appreciate, Tracy Living My Truth, Jay Wilson, Sean Bradley, Food Junkie, Neptarian, did I say D. Ramsey? Deanna Irving, On-Site April. All these people have been a blessing to me. Even Phi Babe. Phi Babe has been a blessing to me. And that's something that whether I'm in agreement or whether I listen to her content or not, I cannot deny that Phi Babe has been a blessing to me. Kwani has been a blessing to me. I may not agree with certain behaviors and certain language. However, these people have been a blessing to me. Therefore, I feel it not robbery to shout them out. Again, in life, people teach you. They teach you what to do, or they are examples. Let's put it that way. They are examples of what to do and what not to do, how to behave and how not to behave. Okay. And some people can be very wonderful people. However, in their behavior, it may not be what I want to emulate or what I want to glean from. So I observe it. I take out of it what is pertinent that will help me. And if there is something that can help me, but it's either they would teach me what to do in their behavior or how to behave or how not to behave. And therefore, I don't have to get emotionally charged when they go off the rail or, but be blessed. Be blessed. I encourage you to observe and watch these people and learn what not to do and what to do. Now, you can like a person and still not do, and still learn what not to do. Because sometimes what they do is detrimental to your mental and spiritual health. And that's the last thing you want to do. Nobody wants to be the walking dead. You can. Crystal, Crazy Teeth 5000, you're right. You're absolutely right. You can learn from everyone. However, it's what you learn or what you keep. You learn what not to do and you learn what to do. So these individuals, and to King Jives, I like to shout out King Jives because King Jives was one of my first relationships on YouTube. So I appreciate all you that came, and I bid you a wealthy, healthy Wednesday. And as I say, as I always say at the end of my lives, much love to you. More love than your mind can conceive, more love than your heart can hold, and more love than you can hold in your hands. Okay? Love you all. Have a healthy and wealthy rest of your Wednesday.